against Charlotte. I recognize her as a very good in-ring performer, and she more than likely does her job as a heel character. But at the same time, I don't buy into her when she's a face. Like I give her credit for being a great performer, but I just am not a fan of Charlotte Flair in the women's division. And I can't remember a time when I was actually was. And I think part of the part that burnt me on it is the fact that she defeated Asuka when Asuka had um a winning record, had not lost at any match at any point in time. It was just utterly dominant, and then Charlotte took that out, which I get it. It's WWE writing the story. It's not her personal issue. I'm not gonna hate on Ashley Flair, but I am not a fan of her at all. I and a lot of people like I one of the criticisms I see of people on wrestling social media is like, okay, then she's doing her job. No, Bailey annoys me. Bailey's doing her job. Miz annoys me. He's doing his job. This is just I do not like Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, because Miz and Bailey are both doing great heel work. Always have been. So they're like their job is to annoy you. Charlotte is just there, and you get annoyed with her on your TV.
Yeah, it's not, I wouldn't say what people call X-Pac heat, which is like go away heat, but I I don't buy into her as a face ever. Like I can't get behind her as a face. And it's just one of those things I have a real hard time. It's I just have a real hard time with Charlotte getting titles constantly. And I'm not gonna hate on Ashley Flair. It's not her responsibility. It's just more or less I just can't get behind her.
Yeah, with this match, though, I do have like a few things. This was my favorite out of the Ripley and Flair.
No. It's a great match. The ending is what pissed me off.
Yeah, I'm actually about to say something about that. But this was the better out of their matches, at least this year. I can't quite remember their WrestleMania match that well, but this I think was the better one. Um, a few things. I still can't fucking figure out who the heel is because they both were doing heelish shit towards the lead up. I'm pretty sure Ripley was supposed to be the face, but I still can't remember or figure it out actually.
Right.
And then the ending. Okay, I'm gonna go back to Hell in a Cell real quick. So you're telling me that when they lift off the cover of the announce table, that calls it a disqualification, but when they're slamming someone's knee into the steel steps, that it's not a disqualification?
It's one of those things where WWE is not consistent in disqualification. There was once, I can't remember. It was within the last couple of weeks. Someone slammed someone in the announce table, and they called it disqualification. But then another time that someone got slammed through the announce tables, and they kept going with the match. AEW is inconsistent. I'm not going to be one of those say AEW's perfect, but that's inconsistent and it's very annoying and it's hard to keep track of everything.
Because like I texted you like when I was watching, I'm like, I want to get into something about this, and they apparently think that we're stupid. But if them like hitting their head using accidentally, pretty much using the cover, I actually wasn't even accidental, but using the cover of the announce table causes a disqualification, I think them putting their knee in the steps and stomping on it 3 times should be a disqualification.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not. Obviously, they're not going to call it that, and they just think we just forgot about that. I
There's
didn't.
there's another inconsistency that WWE has employed over the years, where you know how if someone is in the submission and that person grabs the rope, they're supposed to do a 5 count, and if they don't let go by the 5 count, they get disqualified.
Yeah.
I've seen it where they get down to 4, and then like the ref tackles the guy to get him off of him. It's like, but why are you counting then? What's the purpose behind the count?
Yeah. Basically, I've seen that before. Because there have been times where they got to the full 5 count and called it a disqualification, and then there are times where they're just trying to push them away. It's like, what's the point? But other than that, it was a really good match. I preferred it over their Hell in a Cell match for sure.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that this just means that it's going to be a temporary championship for Charlotte, Although I kind of the way they're playing it up, it'll probably be a little bit of a decent reign where Charlotte's going to be cheating to win essentially. With hopefully Ripley dethroning her again, but I kind of
Oh,
have a feeling that because Sasha's gone, Sasha might return and go to Raw and dethrone Charlotte. But,
I just remembered something.
hmm,
So I was watching it because I watched the replay.
hmm,
My the black, and I'm like, why the hell is it doing that? And then it comes back. It was because Charlotte Flair flipped off the crowd.
yeah.
I
Hmm.
thought that was kind of funny. And then, um, since we're talking about women, and I think this is the last woman match.
Or Becky Lynch, because Becky Lynch is probably due back. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just about to say something about that. I was about to say, do you think Becky's probably going to come back and dethrone Charlotte?
It's gonna be one of the two. It's gonna be Sasha or Becky.
Because
Which
we want Becky, and I think Becky was at Money in the Bank backstage.
we'll see. I mean, her guy was there, so I mean, it's always possible. But it's gonna be one of those. One of the returning people is probably gonna dethrone Charlotte first,
Yeah.
and then that person's gonna drop the title to likely not Becky, Rhea.
Yep.
Um, so the next match was the men's Money in the Bank match. We got Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, Matt Riddle, Ricochet, John Morrison, Big E, Shinsuke Nakamura, and
Kings
Seth. What was that?
Kingsuke.
Kingsuke. Uh, Seth Rollins. I haven't seen. Okay, I'm gonna pause for a minute. I haven't seen much of the whole Baron Corbin being broke thing, but the stuff I've been seeing on social media seems like it could be pretty entertaining, but I haven't seen it personally.
I haven't seen much of it either.
Oh, one other side note. Uh, SmackDown right now has the best commentary for WWE between Raw and SmackDown.
That's a no-brainer.
Pat McAfee being a straight up fan, dancing to music with when Naomi came out was hilarious. And I also like the fact that Pat, I forgot what he was asking, but he asked Michael Cole, he goes, "What does that mean?" And Michael goes, "Well, I don't know." And Pat goes, "You've been here for 20 years. You should know." Like, called him out on it. Um, and one of the things that Michael Cole actually said on social media is that having Pat as a partner has revitalized his career. Like he's enjoying it again.
Which is always a good thing.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Cole overall in his style, but I love Pat's style, and I like the fact that it feels like we get Cole and Taz 2.0.
Yeah, I was about to say that it's like one of those pairings with Michael Cole that you actually enjoy, like Taz.
Yeah, the Taz was one of them. The Jerry Lawler wasn't too bad.
Until they started having a rivalry.
Yeah. Um, but Pat brings a lot more fun to it. Anyway, what'd you think of the men's Money in the Bank?
I thought it was actually pretty entertaining. I liked Johnny Drip Drip versus Seth Drip Drip, I guess is what I'll call him. That was actually pretty funny. And then Ricochet always doing his crazy shit. Um, that powerbomb that set that on Owens actually looked like it hurt like a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Riddle pulling out them RKOs. He actually does not do a bad RKO.
No.
He did a lot more than I thought he was going to do. I like the one where who was that he pulled down? It was either Morrison or Ricochet. It was one of the higher flyer.
I think it was Ricochet.
Yeah, he pulled them down. Like Orton did a RVD in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Pulled way back and hit him. I'm like, wow, he's actually doing pretty good. Uh,
I like him to call it the Riddle KO.
I think my picks to win. Let me look back at it. It was either gonna be E, who ended up winning, Owens, or I don't know. Maybe they would have put out another Rollins at some point, but that'd be one of my picks. One.
I actually thought it was either going to be Big E, depending on whether or not they want to pull the trigger on him, or I thought it was going to be Rollins because Rollins having the Money in the Bank kind of seems dangerous. As much as I wanted KO to get it, I don't think Money in the Bank briefcase cash in fits Kevin Owens. It seems to go against his character. I mean, realistically, it kind of goes against Big E, but at the same time, I know that the ultimate plan is to get Big E in the world title picture, and that's how you can kind of propel that. But Rollins being a snake is what they have, so
They mainly are like a Royal Rumble winner if they were wanting to pull the trigger type deal.
I thought he was going to win the Royal Rumble. I was convinced he was going to win the Royal Rumble. But Owens, I do want to see him back in the world title picture. I just don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Although the idea, here's where I would kind of like put him back into the picture is when they're more than likely are gonna set up for Roman versus Rock, which is one kind of a dream match. But I would like Kevin Owens to interject into that, saying, "I'm getting tired of seeing your family's drama all the time. Why don't you guys go home, work it out, and let the big boys take care of what we need to take care of here," or something like that, you know? Um, because Owens is great on the mic. He could do it and not seem like he would get demolished by The Rock. I actually kind of wouldn't mind seeing a promo competition, not competition, but you know what I mean, a back and forth between Owens and The Rock.
Yeah.
Honestly, Owens and Cena would also be pretty damn entertaining too.
We already got a bit of a glimpse of Owens and Cena in 2015.
Yeah, but that was 6 years ago, and Owens has definitely got a lot better on the mic.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, I hope Biggie. I'm sorry, go ahead.
When like I think of Owens and Rock, I kind of think of their promos being like Punk and Rock 8 years ago.
They'd be very similar. They'd be very similar.
Yeah.
And it would have been about 8 years ago because 2014 is when Punk left. They'd be very similar. Um, I've seen people put out their ideas on social media that they think what's going to happen is Goldberg is going to beat Lashley. Lashley's going to beat down Goldberg, and then Big E's going to cash the Money in the Bank on Goldberg to get the Raw title.
So Big E is essentially gonna move to Raw.
Yeah, that's where a lot of people are thinking it's going to happen. In my opinion, I don't think he's going to go to Raw. I think he's going to stay on SmackDown. I think Cena versus Roman's going to happen. Roman's going to barely get out of the match and then have to have another match against Big E where he loses. And I think that's going to propel Roman to be more abusive towards the Usos, which is going to bring The Rock.
That's a very interesting way to do it.
That's my guess, and my guess is more so how I would do it. Because the thing is with Rock, he is about family. He's going to want to, the whole reason to do the match of Rock versus Roman is to put Roman in check. And one of the ways to do that is have Roman be even more abusive against the Usos.
Yeah.
Because at this point, they're kind of writing Roman as more of a sociopath. And the only way that that's going to work is him turning his back on it. And that's the, because I think they can start building Rock versus Roman after Survivor Series. So the next one is SummerSlam, right? Yeah, SummerSlam. I mean, they could probably actually do it there because September, October. Yeah, they have enough time. So then they would just have to keep Roman away from the title picture in September and October. He could probably lose to Big E again, but I think if they do that where he loses at I'm thinking out loud. At Survivor Series, it could be by interference from The Rock, or it could be by interference from the Usos.